Okay, so today we are going to be working on our thighs. So we're going to be stretching and strengthening our quads and our hamstrings, and basically working with a super awesome muscle, which is the psoas muscle, which connects the inside of your thigh. It comes right the way around over your hip, and it connects into your spine on 5 points. So it's like a really big hip flexor. This is the hip flexor muscle that drives just about all your leg movement. So we're going to have a little focus on that today and working towards a posture called dancer pose. So I think you like that. And so we're going to be doing a mix of everything, stretching and strengthening as ever. So work with what there is. Listen into the knees in particular in this one, because we'll be working into the knee joint just a little bit. So we'll make sure that we make appropriate adjustments for that. So let's get ourselves ready. And of course, as I said, have your belts and a belt and a chair to hand. So let's just settle ourselves down. And just bring yourself now to this moment, to your practice, and to your posture on the mat, the way you've chosen to sit, whether that's on the floor cross-legged or sitting on a yoga support. Just now bringing everything to center. Feeling that contact through your shins, the tops of the feet, through your seat with the mat. And then we're going to relax the mind muscle. This is the first muscle that needs to be attended to before we start. So we're going to relax and sweep away into that imaginary cupboard. We're going to open up those doors and we're going to sweep away all the stuff of the morning. So whatever's been going on so far today and whatever else is going to be happening later on, we're just going to sweep it all in. Close the doors. And take some nice deep breaths in and out of the nose into that vacated headspace. So when we turn down the volume of the mind chatter, tune into the lightness and the relief that that brings about. Now that the mind is available for our practice this morning, we are going to take our awareness into our feet for our body scan, and you're going to relax your feet completely. And then moving up the legs through the shins, the calves, the knees, and the thighs. Just letting the floor or the yoga support take your weight here as you relax your legs completely. And then tilting the pelvis forward just a little, a very small movement, but enough so that you get that spine lengthening feeling. As if an imaginary thread is drawing you up towards the ceiling, lengthening your side seams, but without causing any tension. So your chest is now lifting, your shoulders are broadening and dropping. Arms are nice and heavy by your sides with your hands resting on your thighs, palms facing down. It's nice and centered between your shoulders. And the face is completely relaxed. So just letting go now in the forehead, around your eyes, and the jaw. And just to make sure that we are fully relaxed in the body, then let's do that body scan once more in your mind's eye. Start at your feet, work your way up. Any tension has crept in already, then just let it go. Good, and now that we are fully relaxed in the body, we're going to take our awareness to the breath. You're breathing nice and easy in and out of the nose, so without changing its rhythm or its depth, just continue with that practice. But take your mind on the breath flow journey as it comes in through the nose, touches the back of the throat, goes into the lungs where it rolls over and comes back out. For the next few minutes, enjoying this conscious breathing practice and tuning into the gentle rise and fall of your chest. And then just allowing that practice to finish on the next exhale. And from here, we'll go into warm up. So you're going to take an inhale. And as you exhale, we're going to lower the chin down towards the chest. Inhale, take it away slightly. And then exhaling, drawing it a little closer to the chest. Inhale, take it away last time. And then exhale, really lengthening the back of the neck. And then inhaling, rolling your head up towards your right shoulder. So just rotate your head so that you've got your ear right over the shoulder, stretching out the left side of the neck. And then exhaling, rolling the head back down to center. Inhaling, coming up on the left. So just getting that ear to dangle right over the left shoulder, stretch out the right side of the neck. And then exhaling again, rolling back down to the chest, inhaling, coming back up on the right. So working with the breath, just rolling the head nice and easy from side to side, just working into those neck muscles, just finding the release, keeping your spine nice and long and your shoulders are level and still. the next time, the chin comes down to center. We're going to pause that practice and inhale, lifting the chin back up to beneath the shoulders and continue with shoulder rolls. So send your shoulders back, circle them up towards the ears and forward. Send them back, up and forward. So inhale as they go back, exhale as they go forward. Good. Next time they come to center, send them the other way. Reverse the circles. Forward, up, and back. Still working with that breath, inhaling as they go back, exhaling as they go forward. Good. And the next time, elbows come down to center. We're going to pause that practice and work with the seated spinal twist. So you're going to take your right hand to your left knee. The left hand rests behind you, fingertips on the mat or up against the support. Inhale, nice long in the spine, and then exhale, rotate. So rotate on your axis, your spinal axis here, drawing the shoulders down. And then letting that go, coming the other side. So it's the left hand to the right knee, the right hand rests behind you. Inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, turning. So we're feeling that twist in the middle section of our spine in the thoracic area. Good. One more time either side. Right hand, left knee, the left hand rests behind you. Lengthen the spine on the inhale, and then exhale, turning. Good. And then one more time. Last time, other side. Left hand, right knee, the right hand rests behind you. Inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, turning. Good. And then letting that go. Right, so we're going to come off our support. Come down onto our mat. For the rest of the warm-ups. So come down onto your back. And you can rest your feet with your knees bent on the mat, arms by your side. You can just bring them up towards your knees. But just take a few moments here, just take some breaths. Just relax, get nice and heavy. Good, and then let's get ready to work with the hip rolls then. So keeping your arms by your side, or your hands in front of the knees, take an inhale and circle the knees out to the side, down and away. And then when they meet, exhale, bring them back to the chest. So inhale, circle them out, down and away. Exhale, bring them back to the chest. Next time the knees come to center, just take your hands to the inside of the knees, take a breath in, and as you exhale, let them come out to the side, and then just hold, just for a gentle inner thigh stretch. And then inhale, bring them back to center. A couple more hip rolls. Good. And then we're going to circle both knees together now to massage out the lower spine. So arms by your side, hands in front of the knees. Choose which direction you want to go in, and then circle both knees in that direction. Drawing some circles on the mat with the lower spine, ironing out any tension that might be lurking there. Good. Next time the knees come to center, go the opposite way to the way you started. Next time the knees come to center, we're going to pause that practice. We're going to take an inhale. And as you exhale, roll over onto one side. And we're going to come up into kneeling. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to work with some pelvic tilts, some kneeling tilts. So for this, you're going to need, if you like to have support under your knees, get your blankets across your mat. And I'll show you what we're going to do. So here, we're going to begin with kneeling with our thighs vertical to the floor. We're going to take our arms straight out in front of us with the palms facing, and then on an inhale, as we exhale, we're just going to tilt back, but we're going to bring the whole torso with us. So we're not sitting back, we're actually leaving this aligned and just tilting the whole body back. And when you do that, you're going to feel these quads here working. So let's go ahead and do that. So arms out in front of you, palms facing. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, ground down through your knees, but also through your toes as you tilt back. So your head is in line with the spine is in line with your knees. So it doesn't have to be a huge movement back. It can be just enough where your quads start to grip. So just feel into that. Work with the breath, nice easy rhythm here, no rush. Just making sure that you've got the alignment here. Good. Let's have a few more of these. This is a really good one for waking up the quads, which are 4 muscles here, hence the word quad, which helps with all our leg movements. Walking, running. But also the quads are really important because they keep our kneecaps stable. Good. A couple more of these. Lovely. Good. And then next time, bring yourself back to center. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, lower those arms. Okay, so maybe having felt a little bit of action going on there with your quads. So now we're going to stretch out the quads, and we're going to be working with half bow. So let me just show you what that is, and you might need the belt for this. So you're going to turn around now, and you're going to come down onto the mat, bring your hips onto your blanket. Take your right hand, just place it on the mat underneath your forehead. Reach back with your left hand and see if it will hook around your ankle. Now, if this right here is not happening, then this is where you're going to need the belt around your ankle. And then, if it wants to, lifting the knee off the mat, and at the same time here, rolling the left shoulder back. So you see my arm is straight. And the action here is to send that foot backwards so that there's tension here as you stretch out your thigh. Now, if the foot will come back, so in other words, if it will come towards your buttock, then that is fine. You'll get the biggest stretch there. If you feel any tweaking in the knees, then you're going to loosen off the belt and you're going to do more of a work like this. So you're going to lift the knee off the mat, grounding down through the hips, and again, working with sending the foot backwards, but the belt is holding you straight. So listening into the knees here is really important, and also grounding down through the hips. So just come down onto the mat and just feel into this. Good. So just checking that whether you've got the belt to your ankle or your hand around your ankle, that you've opened up that left shoulder and you got a nice straight arm, and that you're using your foot as a lever, grounding down the hips into the mat to get the stretch in the quad. It's important just to lift that knee off the mat just a little. It can be like literally a quarter of an inch, so that we're engaging the muscles. Good. So get ready to let that go. Take a breath in as you exhale. Let go of that left foot or the belt. And then we're going to switch over to the other side. So now the left hand comes underneath the forehead. Lift the right foot up. And just checking that your knees stay in line with your hips here. Take the belt around your ankle if you need it. And feel the stretch on this side. So this could be really different to the other side. So grounding down through your hips then into the mat. Forehead on the hand. Lifting the knee slightly off the mat. And again, playing with that lever. So the foot is drawing your right shoulder open. Your right arm is straight. And then feeling into that balance of working, but at the same time stretching that quad. That right thigh. Couple more breaths here. Keep those knees in line with the hips. Take a breath in as you exhale. You're going to let that go. Good. So now we're going to come up into standing. You're going to move your blanket out of the way. And we're going to work with forward fold. So what we've just done there is that we've been working these muscles, the quads, and we've stretched them as well. So now we're going to take our attention to the hamstrings, which are behind the thighs. So let's see what there is there this morning. So hands to the heart center. Inhale, reaching up, and then exhale, swan dive down. So keep your feet hip width apart, and then coming down with your hands. So shift your weight into the balls of your feet here, making sure that the hips are over your ankles. Slight bend in the knee. And if your hands won't reach the floor, then you can rest them on the calves, or you can hold your elbows. Either way, with every exhale here, you're going to ground down through your feet and send the tailbone up towards the ceiling, which tilts your pelvis forward, drawing your chest towards the thighs. Now we're feeling into this big muscle here, the hamstring. this is a big old muscle and it does a lot of work for us. It takes time for this muscle to stretch out. So just try not to fight. It will just fight you back. So let the head be heavy here. Keep checking that you've got a slight bend in the knee here so that we're not blocking out the joint. Good. Right. And then let's get ready to come out of forward fold then. So you're going to bend your knees, send your arms forward, inhaling, rounding down through the feet, lifting the arms up towards the ceiling, and then exhaling, bringing them to the other side. Good, all right. So we're just going to work with a bit more action here. We're going to do mountain march. So for this, you're going to be standing. And on an inhale, you're going to lift your right leg. So I'll just turn to the side so that you can see. Inhale, lifting your right leg so that you've got a 90-degree angle here. The right foot is flexed. Exhale, lower, and then the other side. Inhale, lift the leg. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. And then inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Good. Let's add the arms. Arms are forward, palms facing. Inhale, lift that right leg. Exhale. Inhale, left leg. Right leg. So now we can feel that interplay between the quads at the front and the hamstring at the back. So when you lift your leg, you're contracting your quads, stretching your hamstring, and then the other way around. This is why it's important. And you're also working that psoas muscle I was talking about, the one that connects to the inside of the thigh and comes around here to the back. This is what lifts the leg. Good. So one more. And placing it back on the mat, lowering your arms. Good. So let's get a little more deeply into that with the fabulous chair pose. Now, the chair pose really does get into all these muscles here. So again, looking down, making sure that you've got your feet maybe a little closer. So 2 inches apart, toes pointed forward. Take a breath in. As you exhale, sit down into chair. So the hips go back. The knees come over the tops of the feet. The torso comes forward slightly, head in line. And then inhaling, lifting the arms parallel, palms facing, or if you want to challenge the balance, lifting the arms up and looking up. So find your chair pose here. Shift the weight to the front of the foot, so into the ball of the foot. Now you'll feel these quads working here. You'll feel the quads are engaged and your core. Take a breath in. As you exhale, come back up. Good. So we're just going to do that one more time. Take a breath in. As you exhale, sit back. So the hips go back. Knees come over the tops of the feet. Arms come up. Palms facing. Or lifting up. Whatever you feel like. Good. And then inhale, coming back up. Lovely. We're going to work with another hamstring stretch, but this time we're going to do wide-legged forward fold. So I'll just show you. We're going to face the long side of the mat. We're going to have the feet in slightly for balance, slight bend in the knees. We're going to take a breath in, and as we exhale, we're going to come halfway. And then from here, we're going to turn to face our chest towards the left thigh, and then we're going to draw that chest towards the thigh to stretch out the left hamstring. We're going to come back to center, and then we're going to do the other side. So wide-legged forward fold is another great posture to work with some hamstring stretches. So go ahead and take your feet out wide. Hands to the hip crease. Take a breath in. As you exhale, hinge in the hips. Come forward with a straight spine, pausing halfway when your chest is parallel to the floor. Now you're going to turn. Turn to face so that your chest faces the left thigh. Take your hands down to connect with the leg. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, draw the chest now towards that left thigh. Slight bend in the knee, remember. And keep the weight forward into the ball of your foot. Good. So strong through the feet here. Grounding down, and with every exhale, drawing that chest towards the thigh. The big old stretch this. Couple of more breaths here. Good. Inhale, bring yourself back to halfway. And then as you exhale now, turn to face your right thigh and draw your chest towards the right thigh. So again, just checking that there's a slight bend in this right knee here as you do that. So rotate yourself so that you've got your chest actually facing that thigh so that we're not overly twisting in the spine. Could feel really different on this side. It's doing this kind of stretch from side to side that you can really feel into the difference between your sides, if there is any. Couple of more breaths here. And then on an inhale, bringing yourself back to halfway, hands on the hip crease then, your spine is nice and straight. On an inhale, grounding down through the feet, strong through the legs, as you come up nice and easy, back straight, and then bringing those feet into center. Lovely. Give yourself some movement. It's quite a strong stretch when we work in that way. Excellent. So we are working our way towards dancer pose, but we're just going to do a little flow before we get there. And I'm going to show you what it is that we're going to do. We're going to start with high lunge. Actually, we're going to have our blanket ready. We're going to place our blanket ready there. So when we step back, we step over it. We're going to work with high lunge. And then we're going to bring it into runner's lunge. And then we're going to come back to center. We're going to drop the knee down and work with low lunge. And then, if it feels okay, we're going to lift that back knee up into a much deeper stretch here. So those are the 4 postures that we'll be working with. So it starts with bringing your blanket across your mat for that knee drop that's going to come. Come to the top of the mat, hands on the hips. And when you step back, just remember to step back over the blanket. So take an inhale. And as you exhale, step back now with your left foot and find your high lunge. So if you're a bit wobbly, just move your feet slightly wider so that you've got your feet in train tracks, toes pointing forward. The back heel, the left heel is up off the mat. Check that your knee is above the ankle. And then your hands can stay on the hips if you want to. But if you want to challenge the balance, take it into Cactus Arms. So bring your arms up, opening out the chest. So you can feel here that you're nice and centered between the legs. You've got equal weight through the feet. So nice and solid here. We're going to take a breath now, and as you exhale, sweep those arms down by your sides. The palms are now facing the mat. So turn your hands so that your palms are facing. And bring your torso forward. So you've got a nice diagonal line here. So just imagine yourself wanting to catapult yourself forward here, as if you want to start a sprint. So now you're really working that right thigh, because you've shifted your weight forward now into that front foot. You need to be strong here. Chest is open. Good. Take a breath in, coming back up into center. And now we're going to drop that left knee down onto the mat. So drop the knee down with control. Bring that right foot forward. Bring your hands to either side of that right foot into a low lunge. So we're now going to take a little stretch here. Make sure that that right knee is above the ankle still. And that your hips are square so that you're all in line here. You've got your toes tucked at the back. Good, so let's get ready for the knee lift if it feels like it wants to do it. So on an inhale, grounding down through the back toes, lifting the knee off the mat. So you are now stretching that left psoas muscle. So we've got a stretch in the left hip, front of the left hip. And very strong here to support the posture. Good. Take a breath in. Lower on an exhale that left knee. Take your right hand to the inside of that right foot. Swing it back. Good. Sit back on your heels. Come up into standing, and we're going to do that on the other side. Right. Feeling a bit lopsided perhaps now. So this is the great thing about working both sides. You're going to even it up. So put your weight into your left foot. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, send the right foot back this time and find your high lunge. Again, check that the knee is above the ankle and that you're nice and centered here with your torso. The heel is up off the mat with the toes pointing forward. Good, so we can keep the hands on the hips, or we can come up with an arm raise into Cactus Arms. Good. So now we're feeling into the stretch here in front of the right hip. So that's that psoas muscle here on the other side. And also the thigh stretch here. Good. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, sweep those hands down towards your sides, palms facing the floor. Bring your torso now a little forward. In the diagonal, your gaze is to the floor here, head in line with the spine, chest is open into runner's lunge. So we're working that left leg now a little harder by shifting our weight forward. Feel how you can ground down through the feet and the ball of the back foot there to give you that kind of catapult feeling. Good. On an inhale then, bring yourself back to center. Exhale. Inhale. Drop that right knee down. And then maybe scoot this left foot forward so that we can come into our low lunge. So again, ankle underneath the knee. Back foot, toes tucked under. Just feel into this stretch now. It's a little deeper as we've come down onto the mat. Your hands are on either side of that front foot. Good. Get ready for the knee lift if you feel like it. So toes tucked under. On an inhale, then lift the knee off the mat. For a deeper stretch down this right hip here. So just check that the weight is going through the feet. Fingertips are sort of they're lightly on the mat. They're steadying you, but making sure that we're working the left leg here. Good. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, lower that right knee back onto the mat. Take your left hand to the inside of that foot, swing it back. We're just going to pause into child's pose for a second now. So take your knees wide, toes together, coming down forward. You have your arms forward or arms by your side. Bring your forehead down towards the mat. If you need a support for your forehead, then bring a block. Take a few breaths here. And then on an inhale, lifting the torso back off the mat. Bring the knees into center. Tuck the toes under, sit back on your heels, and we're going to come up into standing. Okay, so you're going to remove the blanket now as we get ready to work with dancer pose. So this is where the chair comes into play, just in case we need it. And have your belt to hand as well in case you need that. So the first thing we're going to do is, with just the chair in front of us here, we're just going to do a standing quad stretch. So this is where we lift up the left leg, hook our hands, front of the ankle, flex the foot, and then just make sure that your knees, thighs are parallel to each other, and then see how this feels here. Now already, you might want to, if that angle is tweaky for your knee, then lower the foot. Whether you've got the belt or whether you're holding your foot with your hand, you're going to draw that left hip forward without moving it though. So this is the resistance. So you're going to stretch that left thigh by making out as if you want to draw the left hip forward, but it's going to stay where it is. And your foot is going to be pushing into your hand. So you actually get a shoulder opening here as well. Have your right hand on the chair if you need a balance. But the hips are square facing forward. So just check that we haven't got any sort of twisting going on here. So this is level, just as if you're up against a glass pane here. Good. Very subtle movement, drawing that left hip forward, but there's resistance because your foot is being drawn towards the mat with your hand. So you get this left shoulder opening here. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, let that go. So let's work that on the other side. The same again, lift that right foot off the mat and see if it's all right to just have your hand, but if not, you've got the belt. Always listen in to the knee, very important. But flex the foot. Check that the thighs and the knees are parallel. And you get that sense of the right shoulder opening. Hips are level and square. So again, you can leave your hand on the chair if you need just a little bit of support with the balance, but making to draw that right hip forward, but it stays where it is. And the foot is being drawn to the mat, but is being held by the arm, by the hand. Good. Take a breath in. As you exhale, you're going to let that go. Okay, now dancer pose, which is called Natarajasana, very beautiful, is where we start to tilt forward. So using the belt or your hand, you're going to hold your foot in the same way, get your alignment, and then you're going to start to tilt. So reach out for the chair, and then send the sole of the foot as if it wants to go up towards the ceiling. Tilting back, but keeping the knees in line with the hips. So there is a tendency here for the hip to want to start to rotate up towards the ceiling. So we're going to keep the hips nice and level. So it may not be that you lift your leg that far, but you're going to be much stronger here in your grounding leg to hold the balance. So let's have a go with that. It starts with lifting that foot. Hook your hand in front of the ankle or the belt. Nice and tall, and then take a breath in as you exhale, hinge in the hip. Coming forward. Open out that left shoulder. Just having a play. Good. Eventually, that arm is going to come off the chair. Lovely. Take a breath in as you exhale, lower that leg, and let's play with dancer on the other side. So, get your hand or your belt in front of that right leg. Standing then, starting in the quad stretch position. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, hinge in the hip. Use the chair for balance here if you need it. Keep the hips in line. Open up that right shoulder as you come forward. So again, listening into the knee. Might need that belt. If you didn't need it on this side, or on the other side, you might need it here. So just listening in. Keep those hips square and in line with the mat. Good. Inhale, calming back up and letting that go. Okay, so very strong practice. Well done. We're going to calm down onto the mat. So we're just going to move the chair out of the way if you were using it. And we're just going to do some stretches. So come down onto your spine. And we're going to work with our final hamstring stretch. Nice and relaxed. So come down onto your back. You're going to straighten out that right leg, hook the belt around the ball of that left foot. Nearly straighten that left leg. Slight bend in the knee, take a breath in, and as you exhale, drawing that left foot up towards your face. Relax your upper arms though. So have your upper arms on the mat. Find the hamstring stretch here. To make sure that we've got our spine nice and straight, draw that left buttock towards the bottom of the mat, grounding down through the back of your pelvis, through your lower spine here, to keep those hips level. Just want to make sure we're not kind of hitching up on the left side. Just keep the nice solid contact with the mat. And then breathe into the stretch. Couple of more breaths here before we switch over. Keep that right leg nice and straight, grounding down. Good. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, lower that left leg, and then we're going to switch over to the other side. So now the belt goes around the ball of the right foot. The left leg rests on the mat, foot flexed, nice and active. Nearly straighten the right leg, keeping a slight bend in the knee, and then drawing it up towards the ceiling and towards your right shoulder. Keeping those upper arms then on the mat here. Rounding down through the back of the pelvis, so feel that contact through your lower spine into the mat to make sure that the hips are square. It also accentuates the stretch when you do that, drawing the right buttock towards the bottom of the mat. A few more breaths here. Lovely, and then you're going to take a breath in. As you exhale, you're going to bend that knee, you're going to lower the leg, let go of the belt, and you are now ready to go into your relaxation, into your Shavasana. So if you've got a bolster, just placing the bolster underneath your knees for support. If you have a blanket, then maybe having it underneath your head or over you. So putting on your layers and organizing yourself to get yourself into a comfortable position in Shavasana. I'll just show you. Your feet are hip width apart. Your arms are slightly out by your sides, the palms facing up. If you have a bolster, then it's really great to place that underneath your knees as well. So making any final adjustments. To your posture. And once you're comfortable, and just making sure that you are fully relaxed in the body, perhaps do a body scan from the toes to the top of your head. Just relax all your muscles. And allow yourself to get very heavy here, very weighty, just sinking down into the earth beneath you. Letting the breath find its nice, easy, natural rhythm in and out of the nose. And then disengaging with any thoughts, any sounds, and taking your awareness within to that place of hovering between fully awake and asleep. And you'll hear the bell when we're ready to come out. Just bring yourself back into the room, back into the body now. Making some gentle movements to the hands, to the feet. And if you want to, taking your arms up over your head and taking a nice long stretch down the length of the body. And then bringing one knee to the chest and then the other. And if it feels all right, hugging the knees and taking a gentle rock from side to side. And then rolling over onto your right side and just pausing there and taking some deep breaths into the back of the chest. And then pushing the upper arm into the mat and gently rolling yourself up into comfortable sitting. And taking your hands to the heart center and thanking the body for the hard work and the practice today and for always supporting us in our daily lives. And then hands to the forehead for kind and loving thoughts. Hands to the mouth for kind and loving words. And then back to the heart center for always staying open in love. And we can say namaste. Thank you. Good. So I hope that you enjoy that thigh study of stretching and strengthening.